Hello, welcome back to the woods. And what could be more bushcrafty than this? We've got woods, we've got our fire on the go, and I've got some hot water for a beverage of my choice. Well, in this video we are going to be looking at something else that is classic bushcraft, and that is my Mora Classic No1. That's right, this one, my Mora Classic No1. And you'll remember I did a review of this a few weeks ago. Well, in this video we are going to look at a few subtle changes that you can make to this to make it an absolute bushcraft classic. So in this video we are going to look at how you can improve this one with just a few little tweaks, just to make it that little bit better and that little bit more bushcrafty. And the first thing we'll look at is the actual knife itself. Now, the steel that this is made from is excellent steel. It's an 01 tool steel, it sharpens really well. The blade geometry is excellent. The only negative that anyone ever says about it as well, it doesn't actually strike a ferro rod particularly well. But that's an easy fix. You just square the spine with a file, which a lot of people do. The only problem I've found with that is as you hold the knife forward when you're carving, particularly when you're doing the cuts in towards yourself and you're grasping forward of the handle, if this is too squared and too sharp, actually it causes blisters, etc. on your finger. So our first little improvement is going to be to the blade itself. So that's the blade improved. Our next little change is going to be to the handle, because the handle is great, it's very smooth, it's very simple, but it doesn't give you a lot to grip onto if you're taking it out of a very deep sheath. So for that one we're going to make a few subtle changes to that too. So with that change made as well, the knife's pretty much complete. I've squared this front edge. That means I can still strike my sparks really well. The handle is pretty much unchanged, other than I've put a little hole through it for my lanyard loop. It's a Mora knife. I'm not going to batter the hell out of it, so I'm not worried about this making the handle particularly weak. If I'm using the knife properly and I'm carrying my little hatchet, I'm not going to need to really hammer the hell out of this. So I'm not worried about it making it weaker. What it does do is it makes it safer, because I can now hook my fingers into that loop and draw it out of the sheath safely. Also, with it being a brightly coloured piece of cord, if I do drop this on the ground, then it's not going to be lost forever, because I will see that brightly coloured piece of cord. Yes, the handle is a nice red colour, but it's quite a dull red. Nice brightly piece of cord just makes it that little bit more visible. So the next thing we're going to turn our attention to is the sheath. And if you remember from my review, the sheath is the big negative of the knife. I don't think it's particularly secure. I don't think it looks particularly good. And I'm not that sure it's that fit for purpose. So let's make an improved one. So you can go out and buy replacement sheaths for most Mora knives, the Classic No1 included, and that does make it a whole lot better. You could make your own out of leather if you are gifted in working with leather. I sadly am not. However, I can work with bark, and I put a video up a while ago on how to make a birch bark sheath, and it was quite simple, but it did have a wooden insert. Well, there is a simpler way, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So obviously you are going to need some materials, and here's a list now. Now for your birch bark, obviously we don't want to be taking this off a healthy living tree, but you can take it off recently felled trees, particularly this time of year. You can take it off some older trees that are on the ground. And what I find is that to judge the size that I need, what I do is I take a length of paracord that is 4 times the overall length of my knife, and that can then be wrapped around your log, and that will tell you if it's actually wide enough. Then to get it all off in one piece so that you get a nice continuous strip to work with, well, there's lots of different ways you can do it. People suggest using wooden spatulas and warm water, but what I've found is one of these. It's a thing for stripping wallpaper off walls. It's fairly rigid, it's got a chamfered edge down there so I can get in underneath the bark, and it's fairly stiff so I can actually pry it away as I work round. And I've found over the years this works really, really well. So that's my little top tip for doing that. So actually putting it together, this is a simple method, and it doesn't take very long. Just follow the steps that are coming up now. And there it is, all finished. A very simple project. It only takes, once you've got your materials together and you've cut them to size, about 10 minutes to put together, and it's something that will last for years. You can improve the life of it by treating it and keeping it from drying out with a little bit of dubbing or similar type wax. That's what I tend to use on mine. It just helps to keep them that little bit more flexible, that little bit softer, and that little bit less brittle. But if you do that, these will last you years and years. It's a nice secure sheath. The knife slides in, it's nice and deep, it's not going to fall out, and all round it's a pretty good bit of kit. It also looks very bushcrafty, and it's also great to use things that you have made yourself. So it's a very simple project. Give it a try. It takes your classic No1, gets rid of that horrible plastic sheath, and just makes it that little bit better. Plus, it looks the part too. If you enjoyed this video, then remember, hit that thumbs up button to say you like the channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you look down in my links box down below in the description, you'll find a load of links over to Facebook, Instagram. There's a link to my Etsy shop. Pop over there, you can get yourself a green craft patch. You can also sign up for Patreon. Get involved with the channel, sign up for that. There are benefits when I sell lots of stuff on my shop, on the Etsy shop, like my scarves, my haversacks, etc. Patrons get the heads up first. Excuse me. So it is worthwhile subscribing through Patreon. I think that's everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe.